Hello, friends, and welcome to Service of Change's Changecast, your podcast for change. I'm your host, Dennis Nappy II, with Service of Change, where small changes among the masses can have a massive impact around the world. Tonight, economic justice with our new friend Gary Reber. Have lots of great things to get into with the current state of things in the economy and the world around us, and how you can make those small changes to make that massive impact around the world. A lot of stuff going on in the world today. We are all snowed in. I've been iced up in the Poconos for quite a few days now, hoping to warm things up. And to help you do that is my esteemed co-host, picking fights on Facebook and around the internet, Joel the Provocateur Schaefer. Joel, what's going on, dude?
Thank you for that introduction. I'm very excited about tonight's show. I'm just excited in general because I feel like, with your help and with the help of Lori and the help of many other friends and acquaintances that I deal with, that I'm making small changes in the way I do things, and I'm learning and growing. So I just felt like I would share that as a way of introducing myself tonight.
Hey, and I'm excited for that, Joel. You're doing an awesome job. I'm proud
Thank
of
you.
just looking at the progress that we've made as a team, going forward. So it's really awesome. Your confidence is through the roof. Remember our first show, how nervous you were?
I was nervous tonight too, but I'm proud of ourselves that we were able to overcome a possible technical difficulty, or just do a little tutorial for our guest in this platform, which I was nervous, and we got it done, and I'm proud that we were able to do.
You should be. There you go. Changing lives, one small change at a time. You know that?
I mean, those are little things no, seriously, those little things will hold me back. If there was inconveniences, or I didn't know something, I would just avoid it, and I couldn't. I was forced to problem solve the situation because we're trying to put a show on to help educate some people and help them make small changes. So living what we preach.
Yeah, no, really. I mean, and that's the thing. It holds us to that standard now because we're saying, hey, make a difference in the world, make that change. It really, you got to practice what you preach, and I think that's what we're doing, and that's what we're trying to do every single day, make that difference. Yeah. And speaking of technical difficulties, our normal slideshow is just frozen up, so I'm trying to click through that and fix that. But let's talk to Lori. Let's say hi to Lori right now. Lori, our soon-to-be published haiku author. Lori, how are you tonight?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking.
You had a bit of an accent there. What was that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm, because I'm drinking tea, I think I'm somewhere else.
You're channeling your British aristocrat.
I'm drinking tea. I don't have an accent. I don't know. Maybe you've been snowed in a little too long, Lori.
It's only been like 8 hours.
A little too long. That's it. So what's going on with the book, Lori? How's that looking?
It's looking good. I actually spent most of my afternoon practicing origami folds because my friend Danielle and I are going to shoot the trailer to promote the book this weekend.
Nice.
So my living room was a graveyard of this certain type of figure that I can't really do very well. But the other ones are easy, and we're gonna do stop motion. So I'm really excited. I've never done anything like it before. So once
that's awesome, Lori.
Danielle thinks it can be all edited to go by the end of March, so that we can just throw it out there to the universe and just get the word out about the book. So.
I'm looking forward to that, to the stop motion origami trailer. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch and to promote a really great project, The Art of Service, a collection of haiku poems, because Lori writes her haiku for change every Haiku's Day, every Tuesday. Sometimes I don't publish them on time, but she does a great job offering those inspiring words. And they really are powerful. They really do provoke that thought of, let me try and make a difference today based on what she said. I wish I had one in front of me. I just dropped it. Where is it? Right here.
Every day is a new opportunity to. I shouldn't try to paraphrase it. That would not do justice to it. But one is every day is an opportunity to renew a commitment to change, and that's what I took from it.
No,
That's not it word for word, but.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, good.
Here's one. Ready? It's not my favorite one, but I just opened the book real quick, and I do like this one. Small steps to big steps. That's how we get to our goals. Let us keep climbing. That fits the essence of small changes among the masses can have a massive impact around the world. So very exciting stuff. Lori's got some good stuff going on. So please check it out. Go to serviceofchange.com. And you can see the links to Lori's book. Just click under projects, and there's also articles there that'll tell you how to pre-order. You can pre-order your e-copy for just 99 cents, and it's going to support Lori. So check her out. And lastly, please check out my book. Go to serviceofchange.com/IamHuman. I have my book dropping at the end of March. You can get your free copy if you sign up to the secret newsletter. And as always, at serviceofchange.com, you have links to my other books too. If you have an interest in military, law enforcement, or education, there's some great stories, some great reads there. So, all right, we've talked enough. We've got a really good guest on tonight that I think we're all excited to get to. So let me stop running my mouth and let's talk about our guest, Mr. Gary Reber, as soon as I bring up his bio here. Tell you, man, technical difficulties out the wazoo tonight, but here's his bio. So we have Mr. Gary Reber, as taken from the Huffington Post. Gary Reber is the founder and executive director of For Economic Justice, an advocate and author for economic justice through broadened ownership of productive capital. Mr. Reber is a member of the Coalition for Capital Homesteading. Mr. Reber founded with binary economist Louis Kelso Agenda 2000, incorporated in 1967, to advocate policies and programs to broaden productive capital ownership in urban renewal projects. Mr. Reber studied economic development planning at the University of Cincinnati, University of California, Berkeley, with doctorate studies at the University of Stockholm and Royal Institute of Technology, Stockholm, Sweden. Mr. Reber, for the past 20 years, has also published Widescreen Review, an enthusiastic home theater magazine and webzine, and is the producer of high-definition concert video specials. You know, I thought that I always had a lot going on. Mr. Reber, it definitely has his hands full. So let me unmute his mic right here. And Gary, are you with us, sir?
I'm with you, Dennis.
So good to hear your voice. What a resume, sir! What a wonderful resume. You do a lot of good things.
I also published a Super Green magazine, Ultimate Home Design.
Super Green. I have to check that out. What does that include?
I did that for like 10 years. I still have that on the web, and I actually built one of the greenest homes in the world.
Did you really?
A LEED Platinum. Yeah, I designed it and built it, and it's an incredible thing. But anyway, great. So, yeah.
Well,
that's right up your alley, Dennis.
I'm an old guy, so I you know.
You're doing some pretty young stuff, though, Gary. I got to tell you.
Well,
you inspired me, Gary. That's why I wanted to have you on the show. We're talking about a third way between the typical approaches to trying to get prosperity for the most people.
Right.
And that certainly is a challenge in today's day and age. So, Gary, why don't you tell us about your endeavor with For Economic Justice?
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about all this. I was doing my doctorate studies in Stockholm, Sweden, and I came across a book called The Capitalist Manifesto. And it was written by Louis Kelso and Mortimer Adler. Louis Kelso was a high-demand corporate tax attorney based in San Francisco. And it's basically his whole perspective of how business works, how the world works in terms of the invisible structure, which we never see. We see all these buildings, we see roads, we see all kinds of stuff physically, but we don't know how invisibly all this is legally connected through property rights laws. So anyway, I came back from Sweden and I was all excited. I knocked on Lou's door in San Francisco and I said, look, we should start an advocacy company, a consulting firm. So we started Agenda 2000. So that's my early introduction. Louis Kelso wrote The Capitalist Manifesto, The New Capitalist, Two-Factor Theory, and a couple other books, and a lot of different writings. But here's the basic thrust of all this. Basically, binary economics, we look at the world very simple. It's either human or non-human input into the productive process of producing products and services. So if you just look at it in those two ways, the human part is our labor. Anything we do is labor, whether it's mental, physical, or whatever. And the non-human is comprised of all those different things that are used to produce an end product or service. And that includes land, land, structures, tools of all kinds of sophistication, from the most simplest tool to robotics and then computerized operations, etc. So all of this is the non-human factor. Now, we own our own labor. We're not slaves. We abandoned slavery a long time ago. So we own our own labor. And we also own, as individuals or in association with individuals, we own all of these physical capital assets. That's what economists call that stuff. Capital is not, I'm not using the word capital as a, I'm not using the word capital as a, in terms of money. When I say money, it's money, or cash, it's money. Capital to me is physical capital assets. So you've got, the problem we have is that up until the early 1980s, basically, we were still pretty much a labor-intensive society, where most of the products and services were produced by humans, laborers. Mm-hmm. And then what happened is that the technological revolution really took off. And the whole core function of technology is to shift the burden of toil off of people and onto machines and robotics, etc. And it's constantly in a growth. It's constantly evolving. So the problem is that we have a system which prevents people without savings to become capital owners. So basically the people that have been able to hoard, or I call hog, the ownership of productive capital assets in this country are those who have inherited wealth, or they have earned high earnings in terms of wages, and they've been able to take the excess they didn't need to live on, and they've been able to save it and invest it, and they've grown their capital holdings that way. Mm-hmm. So the whole system is based on past savings, basically. You've got to have savings in order to be able to invest.
Like that old money, basically.
Yeah, old money, and anyone that, I mean, if it's a football player, I don't care who it is, an actor, they make multiple millions.
Right.
Elizabeth Warren is worth over $8 million. Mm-hmm. Hillary Clinton is personally worth over $13 million, but it's worth because they own these capital assets.
Right.
And if you start looking at all this from the standpoint of ownership, this is really key, and we're not doing that. What we're doing here, and what the politicians are doing, is they have blinders on. Now, maybe purposely they have these blinders on because all of them are most of them are multimillionaires.
Yeah, I think the blinders are made out of money.
Yeah, the only way you're gonna become a millionaire or a billionaire is to own, to be an owner, a capital owner. That's the only way you're gonna do it. You're not gonna do it by your labor through a job. Okay.
Except in rare occasions, like you talked about, like a football player or like you're a rapper or something.
Yeah, exactly. But those are very rare occasions.
They're rare, absolutely.
Right. So, so the problem is that the ordinary American is basically a wage slave. Mm-hmm. And of course, far too many people are welfare slaves.
Right.
And we're headed in the direction of more dependency on the government. And our political leaders are not focusing on ownership. And what we should be doing is exactly that. Every policy we make, every decision, every infrastructure project, anything that has to do with contracts with the government, any policy, tax policy, monetary policy, we need to break the barriers to credit and the institutional barriers, so that we can empower ordinary people without savings and without reducing their wages or their benefits from their work or whatever in any whatsoever, and finance the future growth of the country purely on insured, interest-free capital credit loans.
Okay, so I completely agree with you. I mean, basically, we seem kind of powerless right now because we're just trying to struggle to catch up and to pay the bills. We don't have time to, like for me personally, I don't even have the knowledge to know how to go about doing that. So I think what you're saying is a great idea. So what would my first step be towards making that movement, Gary? What would be that step?
Well, the first steps are we have to do this politically.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to reform the system, and you can only do that politically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the challenge we have, is to find leaders who understand this and will take us in this direction. Now, once we do that, what we need to do is empower. It's already in the Federal Reserve law.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to do this already, but they haven't been doing it. So basically what we want to do is have the Federal Reserve issue new money to local banks, and every American citizen would have a capital homestead account
Mm-hmm.
that they could go to, and that account would be divided equally among all citizens. So they would take the national growth of the country, for example, whatever that is, how many trillions of dollars we grow every year. Well, it's anemic right now. It's only like 2.8% growth right now, where
Mm-hmm.
it should be growing at 10 to 15%. So it's very anemic right now, but it's still growth. And what they would do is they would allocate so much money that can be loaned out by the local bank, and you would say we figure it'd be around 7,000 to start per year.
Mm-hmm.
And then that money gets invested in, we want to invest it not in risky ventures, we want to invest it in corporations who are growing the economy but who have proven to be stable and viable and successful.
Right.
Okay, because that's very important, because the whole idea behind this is that, and behind any investment, is that the investment will pay for itself. So companies or executives or CEOs and their boards, they never make they never make a decision to grow their plant and machinery or whatever they're going to expand, however they're going to expand their capital asset base, without doing tremendous amount of in-depth studies to determine that there'll be customers at the end of the line. They're going to buy these products and services, and that's going to generate enough profit to pay back their investment within a reasonable period. Yeah, plus profit and continual income once the investment's paid for. So those investments typically pay for themselves within 3 to 5, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the rule. And any smart businessman understands this perfectly. All right, so what would happen is you would get a loan, you'd get a capital credit loan. That loan would be restricted for investment only. And 100% of the earnings would be required by the corporate through this program for the corporation to pay back 100% of the earnings to these owners, which would pay back the loans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and once the loans are paid for, these owners then would benefit from 100% of the full dividend earnings of the corporation.
Now, this is all, you said this stems from, first we got to get the politicians in place to enact this, and then we got to have the Federal Reserve change basically the way they do business to allow us this opportunity, correct?
Yeah.
Now, is that something you see the Fed doing? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well,
I hear it all the time that they're a private industry that's basically making money off of the American economy anyway. Is that something they're going to be able to profit from, that they're going to even be willing to do this?
Oh yeah, they'll definitely profit, but it's already in the Federal Reserve Act,
Mm-hmm.
the provision to do this. doesn't have to change anything. All they have to do is activate that part of the Section 13.
So the legal apparatus is there. It's just
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah.
It needs to be activated by some kind of legislative act signed by the president.
It doesn't even need a legislative act. It actually just needs them to do it. It needs political pressure and leadership for them to start using this again. They used to do this. It used to be that way.
Really?
They don't do it anymore. Right.
Okay. So one question: who would be helping, like, a person, like, say Joel, like, say this took effect and Joel went down to his bank, and who would be helping me decide where I'd be investing my $7,000?
Okay, well, that's where not necessarily a stockbroker, more because the stock market, today's stock market is a gambling casino.
Right.
That's all it is.
And an investment strategist?
It's dealing with capital assets,
sure,
represented by stock issues that have already been owned by somebody. So they're just trading among themselves, on this market. It's not creating any new wealth. It's just
not creating value.
Yeah, and so one company's value goes up, and you made some money because you gambled that it's going to go up. Some people gamble that it's going to go down. That's the way the stock market works. All right. We're not talking about that. But how this would work for Joel or Dennis or Lori or whatever? You go to a bank, and if that bank, what would happen is, because of this law, you're going to find a lot of financial managers making it available.
Exactly. Okay.
So
that's what I was looking for. Yeah. Because, like, I wouldn't know. Like, I told my girlfriend about this idea, and she was like, well, poor people would probably misinvest the money. That was her, because I didn't quite have the details, but I just gave her a skeleton of it.
No, we want to provide help for people, and we want to be sure that the corporations have to meet certain criteria even to be eligible to be invested in.
Right. Makes sense.
And we would also require those corporations to pay out fully 100% of their earnings, which would then be taxed at the personal level. It would eliminate the corporate income tax completely. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because right now we have double taxation with corporations. That's why they want to lower the taxes. But I would never
that's why a lot of them move overseas.
Yeah, exactly. I would never allow them to. I would say raise the corporate income tax to 70%.
Okay.
And then give them the opportunity to have zero tax, to totally eliminate that by agreeing to pay out fully 100% of the earnings of the corporation to the people who own the corporation. Okay. Then the people who own the corporation then are subject to the personal tax rates.
Right.
So this, and then when the corporation wants to grow, they would issue and sell new stock. And the new stock would be purchased by us as individuals.
By more people accessing that same.
Exactly. So here's what you're going to have. You're going to have some corporations who are going to say, wow, this is a fantastic opportunity. I want to do this. In fact, I want to make my employees all owners as well. And they're going to be not paying any corporate income taxes because they're paying out everything. They're going to become much more competitive to a company that's not doing that. So if a company still
there'd be more incentive for everybody to get
ownership, they're going to be penalized for it. They're going to pay a higher tax.
The pie then, right?
What's that?
Everybody will get a piece of the pie, and everybody have the potential to get that piece, even the lower level workers.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to broaden private individual capital ownership as wide as possible. I would say universally.
Are these CEOs that are making millions and millions of dollars a year? Are they gonna? How's this gonna affect what they're making?
Right, it doesn't affect them at all, actually.
Okay, so they'll still make the same couple $1 million, but everybody else.
We're not taking anything away from. We're not saying to take anything away from those who already own.
Mm-hmm.
They keep what they own right now. We'll get them when they die.
But
right now, they're alive. They're making their multi-millions. They're doing whatever they're doing. We're not taking anything away from them. But what we are saying is the future isn't yours. You cannot lock up exclusively the future and deny the masses the same opportunities to be wealthy and affluent.
Right.
So what we're saying is future growth. We want to finance future growth simultaneously and create new owners. You see what I'm saying?
No, I do, and you know, I like the concept of it. I guess what makes me nervous is just the personalities that are needed to make this shift happen. I mean, do we have politically somebody that's in mind that might be on board with this movement, or I mean, how do you get people behind this?
No. We had someone a long time ago, Russell Long, Senator Russell Long. In fact, Louis Kelso, did you ever hear of the employee stock ownership plan?
I have not.
You haven't? Okay.
No.
Well, that's already in law, so that's a part of this whole program. So this enables a corporation to finance growth by having their employees become the owners, and they get the finance growth with pre-tax dollars, which is a big plus for corporations. There's over 11,000 corporations in the United States that are employee-owned through an ESOP.
Yeah, it happens. It happens already. Yeah, organically, so to speak. But
okay.
What's the resistance from the left on this? From like the tradition, because this sounds like something that a Democrat would love.
Well, a Republican and a Democrat, every political persuasion should love this.
Right. But you understand where I'm coming from, where it sounds more like a populist idea that would be right up the alley of someone.
Exactly. Well, that's why I write so much on my blogs. I mean, I have over 2,300 major either articles or commentaries, major articles by politicians, by economists, by you name it, where I'm always, making, criticizing them, saying you're not getting it. You're
right.
off base. So I've been doing that for over 2 years now, and I've been hitting at
Is it that they don't
Sanders.
get it, or they don't? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Is it that they don't get it, or they don't want to get it? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I don't know, Joe. Dennis, I don't know, because the problem is that they don't respond.
Right.
Right.
That's the problem.
And
you're dealing with a national media. No matter where you are, I don't care if it's the Tom Hartman show on radio, a progressive guy. He's still being broadcast by a big corporation, and all this media is owned by these corporations. And
sure.
And I don't know what's going on, but they don't respond. I mean, I hit at Bernie Sanders all the time, Elizabeth Warren, Robert Wright. Do you know these names?
Yeah, absolutely. Very familiar with all three of them.
Okay, I hit at them all the time. Robert Wright is so wrong on his positions, it's unbelievable. All he can think of is, we got to create jobs, we got to have a minimum wage, as if, making $15 an hour is somehow going to solve all the problems. To me, that's still wage slavery.
Yeah, I mean,
we should be doing much better than that.
That's why we wonder if they're really interested in solving the problems. I mean, a lot of times I think, the problems that we have keep the people in power, and it keeps them, financially secure by keeping us in that state of, well, we have to catch up. And then as a people, as a community, we can't seem to organize. I mean, how can we at a grassroots level put that political pressure on somebody? I mean, I just don't know where to go from here, as just the average Joe.
Well, I'm the average Joe too, in that sense, and it's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Right.
But the three people I just named, ideally, would be three people that should grab onto this.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, Gary. That would sound like something that they would want to trumpet from the mountaintops.
Exactly. Well, before this call, I was doing a commentary. I was writing a commentary on Elizabeth Warren and her speech before the Congress. And she stuck on, again, minimum wage, creating jobs through infrastructure. Like I said, yeah, we need to rebuild our infrastructure. Okay,
yeah,
so if I was president of the United States, I would say, okay, we're going to rebuild our highways, our bridges. We're going to build incredible infrastructure. but we're only going to contract with private firms, construction firms, who are employee-owned.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
Right. You're investing in in your local economies that way too.
Right. Investing in local economies, they're employee-owned, or starting to spread ownership.
But that's the problem, because
benefit from taxpayer dollars,
right,
that's going to pay for all this stuff.
Right. But they don't do that. They as we all know now.
Yeah, but we need leaders, because there's no leader speaking out like this.
Yeah,
there's no leader teaching any of this stuff. We're not even taught this stuff in economics. I taught economics at UC Berkeley in the graduate program. The textbooks, if you pick up an economic textbook, go to the index and find the word ownership. You won't even find it.
Right.
I think that's how me and you kind of connected in the first place, because I don't remember where we actually were talking, but I was probably, from what I can remember at that stage of my life, I was frustrated with the dogma from the left, from the Democratic Party, about economics. But I never heard, I mean, I studied Karl Marx, and I studied Keynes, so there's elements of both of those theories in what you're saying, but I had never seen anybody take it to the next level. I had heard about the idea of collectives. I mean, that's what Marx originally envisioned before his vision got corrupted by a vanguard of a ruling class, which was the Communist Party in whatever country. He envisioned cooperatives owning businesses. He didn't envision state ownership of all industries. He envisioned employee ownership of all industries. That's an incredibly important distinction that most people don't make. They just go, oh, you want to nationalize everything.
That's right. Well, Dennis, I recommend you read the Capitalist Manifesto, because Louis Kelso and Mortimer Adler, who was one of America's greatest philosophers, they were the authors of that book. And that was their reply to Marx and what he missed.
Yeah, and he did miss things. But now it's like it's all or nothing. It's either either we just go with the private, supposedly free markets, or we just nationalize things and tax and spend and do all that. And that doesn't really address systemic inequality. People need ownership of like you said, of capital. If you have a vested interest in whatever endeavor it is, you're going to take care of it more. You're going to give it the time that it's necessary. You're going to sacrifice for it.
Right, exactly. Well, you look at any product around you. I mean, I don't know if you're on a desk or where you're at, but you look at any product around you, it's made by machines.
Yeah.
And they're getting more sophisticated all the time. They're becoming human intelligent.
Yeah.
And it won't be long. It will be within a decade. I mean, within a generation, they'll be walking around and doing stuff.
I just saw by 2018 they have actual RoboCops that they're rolling out in one city, for parking enforcement and minor stuff. I mean, they're not going to be making arrests or anything, but I mean that's already it's
right.
been all over the internet. They're getting ready to roll that stuff out. I mean, that is a reality.
I mean, so that's the function of technology. That's what technology is all about. We invented tools. From the time the first ape picked up a stick and clubbed another ape, that was a tool.
Right.
And we've gone from that to all kinds of incredible machines and computerization processes. We don't need people to do toil work. But if they don't own the machines, they're
going to be left out in the cold.
They're left out. They have to depend on government and redistribution and all the other things that come with building a big government, elites who want to control everything and tell you how you have to live and what you can do and can't do.
Yeah, their aid comes with a price.
Exactly. So we don't want that. We want to free people, and the way to be free is to own.
Right. No, I agree with you there. I definitely do.
But no one's talking about ownership. That's the point. You don't hear any of these people even use the word ownership. You don't hear Bernie Sanders say it. You don't hear Robert Reich say it. You don't hear Elizabeth Warren use the word ownership.
And
they talk about wealth, or they'll talk about wealth. Well, what is wealth? I mean, it's partly a house, but a house is not a capital instrument. It's something you live in.
Well, and on the flip side of that, Gary, you don't hear that from the average working citizen either. They don't talk about ownership. They talk about, I need to get a raise, I need to get a job, I need to get 2 jobs so I can make more money to pay my bills. And I think, I had kind of that epiphany a few years ago where I said, I'm tired of working for somebody else and all these troubles. That's why I started, this endeavor here, where hopefully someday, it'll be keep me happy, keeping me financially secure. But I think until we get that demand from people, that realization that that's what you need some kind of invested ownership in the job that you do. I think that's another piece that we're leaning on for the people out there. They need to strive to try.
Well, they need to be properly educated. That's the problem. We're not educating our people.
You're talking to a teacher. That was my first book, all about that, Gary. I could not agree more. It starts.
Dennis is a teacher by trade.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I left. I was a soldier, then a cop, and I left because I was so fed up with just the way the world was going. I said, it's too late when I have to deal with you and put handcuffs on you. Let me go into a classroom and try to reach it. And you look at it, and the funding is being cut like crazy, at least in Pennsylvania, to the school system. Why? Because it further supports this system of people that are going to be just kind of mindless worker bee drones that go out and earn their minimum wage. It's a horrible cycle. So, I agree.
We need to. That's what's happening. And
yes, it's what's happened.
That's why the general public, the ordinary American, they don't pay any attention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got 11 grandkids, okay?
Right.
And they're, some of them are grown up and they're, just getting married and, that kind of stuff. And none of them are interested in even learning about this stuff.
Yeah.
And here I am writing all this stuff. They have access to all of this, and they're just not interested.
Because there's so many other good, quote-unquote, good distractions or entertaining distractions out there on the internet, on Facebook, on reality TV, that just their mind just gets engrossed with that stuff. I argue with my students about this all the time.
Right. So they're because they're just dropping out, and they don't realize how it's going to impact them in their elder age.
Mm-hmm.
How it's going to impact their kids. You can't just go to college, and just because you went to college and got a degree doesn't mean you're going to get a job. We don't need that many people.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Gary,
okay?
I have 3 college degrees, and I work at a restaurant.
I'm sorry, what?
No, Gary, I have 3 college degrees, and I work at a restaurant. So.
Okay, there you go.
And for a variety of reasons, but one of them is that the jobs I could get, I make similar working at a restaurant that I do at the jobs I could get with my 3 college degrees. So
yeah, that's not the path, and yet that's one of the big planks of these progressive politicians.
That's what I was taught.
We gotta get educated. We gotta have everyone educated. Well, not everyone wants to be educated. They don't need to be educated. And the thing is,
not at such a high expense.
Ownership, and let them develop. Once they have an influence, which we can build within a generation. Once everyone's on the right path, then you have freedom, and then your own innate creative abilities are going to show. And you have more and more, Bill Gates and more that kind of stuff. You're going to have all these inventors. You're going to have people doing the stuff that they really love to do. And when you do something you really love to do, you create.
No, you're absolutely right, Gary. And that's, and speaking of education, I mean, we sell these hoop dreams to our kids. You have to go to college, get your degree, get your education, but we don't focus on, the majority of our I guess, way of life is ruled by those blue-collar workers who don't have that college degree, who are serving you food, who are cleaning your rooms, who are building your houses, doing all that stuff that you don't need a college degree to do, but we don't invest in them at the school level. It's usually like, well, you weren't very good at school, so you go work construction. If we invest in every student, and I've rolled out a whole plan of this in my first book, of change our model of education to like an academy base where our students get to almost select what kind of trade they want to go into, and then they get that training and that reinforcement. So everybody loves school because they're doing what they want to do, and then you're putting out experts in everything, to the best doctors, and you're also going to have the best people that are going to come in and clean your hospital room at the same time. So it doesn't matter which way. Everybody's invested in it, everybody's good at what they're doing, but we just don't do that in America, and it's very frustrating to see where it's going, because this is the result.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I lost my thought, but anyway,
Sorry.
I want to come back to one thing: insurance, because this is the whole key to this thing. Uh, we need to apply the principle of insurance that you spread the risk among millions of people, and yeah, there's going to be some failures in this plan. There's going to be some corporations, some projects that were invested in that didn't work, but not all of them are going to. Most of them are going to be all successful. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So we use insurance. So we got to use insured interest-free capital credit loans, and that's going back to the Federal Reserve. They can do that, interest-free.
But then
So we're not borrowing anyone's existing money.
Right.
We're creating new money based on assets that we're going to create.
Gary, I think it's a great idea. Again, the challenges I think is the personalities behind it, and there's when stuff like this has tried to happen in the past. I mean, it usually doesn't end well for the people that are behind those movements. Just trying to change American economics or even in other countries. So again, I just keep coming back to I hope that through networking, through the internet, through what you're doing, through what we're doing, maybe we can get enough of an organization going on, because I think that's where we're really struggling, is that the people out there, some people want change but don't know how to go about it. They don't know where to turn. If we can develop some simple source that people could go to where everybody could get on the same page and at least learn to work together, maybe we'll have a shot at really putting that pressure out there to make that difference.
Well, we have, I'm part of the Center for Economic and Social Justice, CESJ.org. And we have a wealth of stuff. I mean, you can learn so much about what I'm talking about. My own blog site, you can learn a lot. We even created a platform called Unite America Party Platform.
Oh, wow.
That's accessible also. You can search for that on Facebook. Remember, it's Unite, not United, but Unite right. America Party. And that platform is wonderful. Yeah, it'll blow you away.
So you've already got that groundwork going.
And how it impacts the whole world as well. Because the whole world, the problem with the world is that, most of these people are making, a lot of these people in the Middle East are making maybe $600 annually.
Yeah.
They just want some money to feed their family and stuff. I mean,
right.
If we can unleash this concept worldwide, it's incredible. But I can tell you one thing is that outside of our group, from the, I got involved with Lewis Kelso in 1968. Mm-hmm. So outside of our group, I've never heard any politician except for Russell Long, who got the passage of the Employee Stock Ownership Plan Trust.
Okay, so we just lost Dennis and Joel, but they, I'm sure, will find their way back.
Good.
We're a scrappy group, so we use technology that sometimes doesn't.
Well, it's not perfected yet.
Yes.
It will get there.
Absolutely. So let's see. So you were sharing about your work on CESJ.org.
Yeah, that's one resource to go to if you really want to learn about all this stuff in depth. And again, another resource is my own blog. And of course, on Facebook, if you want to friend me on Facebook, I'm very active on Facebook, promoting all these concepts.
Okay. And you accept requests from strangers on Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. I want everybody. I don't restrict people. I mean, some people I've restricted, but for other reasons. But no.
That's great. That's great, because I think a lot of us we can read all the content on the internet, but it sometimes is hard to make the first step, and it's good to be able to speak with someone like yourself directly, to kind of just fill in all those questions, and even just like you and Joel have had some good back and forth about just the pros and cons of your approach. to this wealth redistribution that you're getting at. Oh, there's Dennis.
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys. I don't know what happened. My apologies. Joel dropped out. I lost all audio from all of you.
Yeah, it just happened. Just bango.
Well, I get Lori. Did you step in? I mean, was I talking to you a minute ago, Lori?
No. I only Gary could hear me, so I jumped in, and now I will bow out.
Good for you. I was as I was saying, and I did like 3 minutes of filler because I thought I was the only one on the air. So I'm sitting here talking to nobody, thinking that the show is still going on. And then I get reconnected and I hear you guys going. I'm like, am I in a time loop or what? But that's what I say all the time. We're not a low budget operation. We're a no budget operation. So these things tend to happen from time to time.
Yeah, well, the technology is still perfecting itself.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway,
go ahead, Gary.
The thing is that if someone wants to find out more about this stuff, I suggest you go to the CESJ.org website. You can download the Capitalist Manifesto, the New Capitalist free.
Oh, great.
There's so many articles on there. There's so much stuff on there that you can get a whole university education in binary economics. And then my own blog site, you can follow that because I write every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that's for economicjustice.org. And then finally, just friend me on Facebook because I'm always on Facebook, constantly making comments on different stories that appear there, etc., and posting them on my own Facebook page.
That sounds great, Gary. And you know what I'll do is if you could send me your the link to your Facebook page, I'll go ahead and throw it up on the serviceofchange.com site affiliated with this podcast, so then I'll have all those links right there. I have the for economicjustice.org affiliated with the site, and I'll have CESJ.org put up there as well, so our listeners, our followers can go right there and have access to you as well. So definitely send me that Facebook link, and I'll get that up there for you.
Okay.
So we're coming up close to the end of our show. I'm not sure what happened to Joel. He's probably freaking out right now. Let me just see if I get him back on. But Gary, while I'm looking for Joel, do you have any final thoughts, any last things you want to say to our listeners out there?
Well, I mean, to make the kind of reforms I'm talking about that are going to really change the direction of this country and the world, actually, as a byproduct, we need leaders.
Right.
And I mean, the only what I've been doing is just voicing it, like I said, outreaching on these social media sites and etc. And if we had more people doing that, that's how we can build a movement. But right now, we have no leaders that are actually thinking this way or talking this way. And I'm trying to influence that for the 2016 election.
Right.
Them to start talking about the issue of concentrated capital ownership and the necessity to implement every policy that will create new owners.
Gary, I like what you're saying, and what I like about this is that I am no expert when it comes to the economy and stuff like that, but you are. So, with our movement, with what we're doing, trying to empower, the individual person for those small changes, we can defer to you and to your links and to your resources, and that's how this networking thing works. We can all work together and bring all the different strengths that we have and work together to build that future. And I agree, we definitely need some leaders out there. So maybe between your resources and our resources, we can find that leader and that leadership cast out there, and hopefully inspire them to move forward and work with us. So I'll be happy to share your stuff through our site as well. And please keep us in mind if anything comes across you think will be a good fit for us.
Let's find a billionaire or a few billionaires who are going to be leaving us fairly soon,
right?
And convince them to put their money to promote these kind of ideas. Because that's how they got rich. They understand this stuff. They just don't share the information.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Well, hopefully they will. Hopefully they'll hear us screaming loud enough because, like you, we're online. Definitely Joel's out there every day, on the social media feeds. Myself as well, between the podcast, between the books that I've written, and the articles that I put out on Service of Change. we're all doing our small part to hopefully have that massive impact. So, Joel, I see that you're back in the call. Do you have audio? You able to chime in with? We got like a minute left before we're going to end the show.
I'm back, and I just echo your sentiments. I mean, advocacy is sometimes a arduous, grueling process, but I mean, I was instantly turned on to Gary's ideas the minute I saw them. So I know there's other people out there who are interested in this kind of thing. I see people gravitating to, libertarianism or gravitating towards traditional Marxism because they see some of the same things that we see and that Gary is able to put in more pedantic terminology. They see that the ownership class is getting richer while the rest of us are kind of struggling, and so I think that this information will inspire people, and I will definitely make an effort to share it with people.
Great.
Good stuff, Joel. Thank you so much for coming back to join us, Joel. I don't know what happened with those technical difficulties, but we survived. Lori pulled through for us and kept the show going with Gary. So, Gary, my apologies to you for happening. But again, like I said, we are a no-budget operation, so that happens from time to time. But again, Lori, any final thoughts for us before we go ahead and close out the show?
I'm just glad that this discussion took place tonight, because I think we, with our mission to make these small changes, it's good to incorporate the things that we need to just have a good life, and we need to be able to get ahead and save in order to do all the other things that we want to do. And so I'm glad we had this conversation tonight. That's all.
Thank you, Lori. Okay, Gary, I'm going to go ahead and close out the show now. Again, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's been educational for me, and I know our listeners out there will get a lot out of this as well. So thank you so much, sir, for taking the time to
You're welcome.
grace us with your
Yeah, that was great.
It's been wonderful.
Anytime you want to further it on, we can do it.
That sounds fantastic. And anytime you have something that you want to promote, please let us know. I'll be happy to share it through our social media channels. And if you want to come back on the show, you're always welcome. There's an open invite for you. So thank you very much, sir. And Gary, why don't you hang on the line? We're going to go ahead and close out the show, and then we can have a quick chat once we're done with this. But to our listeners out there, thank you so much for being a part of the show and Service of Change. Please continue to support us by liking our stuff, sharing our stuff. That's the best way. Go on iTunes, Service of Change on iTunes. Give us a ranking so we can have more people find our show and help us make that difference in the world. We really do have the power to make that change. There's more of us out there that want to make that difference. We just need to organize and get on the same page and make that difference in our life. Look for Lori Latimer's book, The Art of Service, a collection of haiku poems. You can find it at facebook.com/serviceofchange. You can find it at @wordpress.com, and you can follow me on Twitter, Dennis Nappy II, Nappii, and I highly encourage you as well. Look for my new book, I Am Human. We are not who we think we are, at serviceofchange.com/I Am Human. Sign up for the secret newsletter, and you'll get yourself a free e-copy. I highly, highly recommend it. Thank you, all of you, for being part of the show. Thank you to our friend Gary, to Lori, and to Joel. Remember that small changes among the masses can have a massive impact around the world. Be that change. Thank you.